Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dual Screens cross-play. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Nope. That's not what we're doing. That's what we're supposed to do at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, but I screwed all that up. I'm going to do that all over. Let's just start that over. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dual Screens podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
It's a packed house, Stephen.
It is. There's a lot of bodies right now.
There's like an orgy joke I want to make, but I can't even get one out. I'm so overwhelmed.
This is very overwhelming. This is a packed house, folks. Joining us this week is nearly the entirety of D-Cell Games, the developers of Unbeatable, a game where music is illegal and you are doing some crimes. Welcome to the show, everyone. Hello!
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, man, we have a lot of bodies here. This is going to be fun. For those of you that are new to the Dual Screens podcast, this is the Dual Screens podcast, the internet's #1 indie developer interview podcast, hosted by two people you've never heard of, probably. The show posts each and every Friday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home, Podbean. And ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to continue to remind you, check which feed you are listening to this on, because our previous host, we are going to be canceling that feed. So make sure you check and make sure that you are following or subscribed to the one that says we do Crossplay Podcast and the Dual Screens Podcast. That is the correct feed. The other description will say Dual Screens Gamescast, which we no longer do. So please be sure to be subscribed on our other channel or our other feed on Spotify and all those fun things. And if you're watching later on YouTube, thank you so much for doing so. We love you. YouTube.com/DualScreensTV. Hello, team. Goodness gracious. So many people. So who's let's designate the ringleader. We'll have the ringleader of this hodgepodge group of incredible developers introduce yourself, and then we'll go around the horn.
I don't know who qualifies as the ringleader.
Can we just go in Kickstarter order?
Yeah,
Kickstarter order.
Kickstarter order works. Yeah,
that's a really good idea.
All right,
it's Andrew first. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Andrew. I am one of the two directors on the game. I am in charge of the art direction. I do most of the animation and arts. I do some of the story design and concepts. I do a bit of the programming, just every hat imaginable on my head.
Yeah. I'm RJ. I am the other director on the project. I handle the narrative design and most of the writing, the actual dialogue. And I'm music direction stuff as well. And then I do biz dev and some of the QA things and a bunch of other things like the trailers.
I'm beginning to see why we have 6 of you here. Okay. I'm beginning to see it. There's a trend. Next up.
I'm next up, right? I don't
Yeah, just go next.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Jeffrey.
Is it my turn?
It's my I'm Jeffrey. I'm the game's producer and beat map designer. So I'm just a lot of different hats as well, just a lot of different things that production work primarily entails, but sometimes I also handle social media, other aspects of the game design, and just general business management. It's just everything, kind of everything that you aren't thinking of is how I describe the role sometimes.
Production and indie game development means that you do many things.
Of course.
Right.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm Rachel
Rachel.
Lake. I am a co-producer on this game. I also do community management, PR. And I'm also the voice that you hear singing in the songs.
Oh.
So,
well then.
That is so dope.
Man, you guys, your resumes, let me tell you. Is there anyone left? There should be one more.
I think there's one more left.
There's
right?
two.
Two more. Okay, go ahead.
Two left.
That means it's my turn now. So, hello, I'm TJ. I'm one of the composers.
RJ and a TJ. Okay, all right.
We got two J's here. So I'm one of the composers on the game, and I focus a lot on the songwriting and kind of live production aspect of the game. So a lot of the live drums and guitars and bass and stuff like that. That's stuff that I will play and record and kind of engineer, and then I'll throw it off to Vasily, who will help me refine the stuff, and he'll mix and master it. And but he's not here right now, so.
Oh, why not? I mean,
he's off having some fun. I don't know.
Oh, well, wow. I don't know about you, Andy, but I take offense that.
A little bit.
I take great offense. Great offense.
I'll make sure I'll let Fast know.
Thank you.
You took offense.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And our final introduction.
Yes, hi. My name is Mireille. I'm the main programmer on the game. So all the systems, rhythm gameplay, conversation systems, stuff like that is stuff that I work on. Also, like make development tools for the team and do a little bit of audio programming as well.
Yeah, Mireille, she basically does she does the bulk work of the programming. The programming I do is most of the things related to the visuals, like the UI, animation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do more of the programming, and then we wisely decided that my head was not capable of holding up that many hats, so we passed them around.
So I stole a hat off of Andrew's head and put it on mine.
To be fair, it's a really big hat. That's like the biggest of the hats.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly I feel like the most confusing of the bunch. Now, Andy, I'm gonna set this one for you to kick us off with our ceremonial first question, which we haven't had it in a few weeks. Well, at least in a few episodes that I've been a part of. We've so I hope you have something good. I hope you have something prepared.
Well, it wasn't so much of a question, more of
I
want to express gratitude to the team
Mm-hmm.
because I'm looking at the features of the demo on Steam right now, and they were so nice to include a white person mode, which says if you're not feeling the rhythm, there's an assist mode
Right.
for people like me who have no rhythm whatsoever.
Rhythm. Yeah.
And utterly fail at games like this. So thank you, Duel Games.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We definitely want to make the game accessible to players that maybe are not so familiar with rhythm games.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the extent of my rhythm games are, well, besides Guitar Hero, is Patapon. I think that's where I stopped. I started and stopped. Yeah. So let's kick it over to you guys. I think Rachel might be. I believe you said PR and social and all that fun stuff was part of the 32 hats you're wearing. Why don't you give us the elevator pitch of what Unbeatable is?
Unbeatable. It's where music is illegal and you do crimes.
Uh-huh.
Honestly,
that there's some sort of movie out there that this
when
reminds me of.
I am not. I will clarify. Probably the better elevator pitch would come from Andrew or RJ.
Okay, so we'll kick it over to Andrew. Andrew.
So Unbeatable is a narrative-driven rhythm game where two-button combat powers pretty much everything. We really wanted to make a rhythm game, but in our heart of hearts, we knew that story-based adventure games, your Paper Marios, your RPGs, JRPGs, what have you, those were our real bread and butter. So, when it came to it, that was something that we wanted to add into the rhythm genre that I don't think many rhythm games have really tried to do.
Right. Yeah. We definitely notice, just as people who like rhythm games and people who like story games, that despite the fact that like some of the best moments you can think of in a lot of your favorite narrative media tend to be tied to music, but there's not a lot of like cross between those things, at least in games, at least not enough of it. So we want to try and bridge that gap a little bit.
Right. I want to go back just a couple of seconds, a couple of moments ago. Speaking about the marriage, well, the narrative meeting this style of gameplay. Typically in these types of rhythm games, like you're chasing the high score, that is your personal narrative. It's just getting that high score, unlocking the next level or next chapter or whatever it is, of tracks and songs. So how is this going to be differing? How are you marrying the narrative into that, where it's in a compelling way that's not just let's get to the next set of enemies / songs?
Well, the game it's an indie game about making an indie band. You the story revolves around this group of people trying to make an indie band and kind of push back against push against the system, I guess.
Damn the man.
But a lot of the story kind of revolves around these characters, their growth as people, you know, what they want to do, where they want to go. And it all culminates in, I think, some really exciting anime.
Hell yeah.
That's one way of describing it.
Yeah.
How bad did music get for it to become outlawed and illegal? Was it Cardi B that was the catalyst? Who did it?
I think it was Bad Baby. I think, right? She was the
'Cause
Cash Me
listen-
Outside girl. I think that was where it ended for me.
I don't do a lot of new music. A lot
Uh-huh.
of it is like noise to me. But my fiance is so plugged into that, and we're laying in bed, and he has like the TikTok with some of the popular songs, and I'm just
Right.
like, is that what's passing for music these
Uh-huh.
days?
You're an old man. You know that, right?
A little bit. I'm a little grumpy old man. So I was wondering in this, I was wondering in this game's world, why did music become illegal? What was the catalyst?
As the answer to that question, I would like to point you towards our Slacker backer and the $27 option to buy the game.
All right.
It's all definitely explained in the game. So
I see. I see.
It is a core mystery of the game to tell you right now. Would be
Fascinating.
devaluing our game, so just buy it, please.
we're not devaluing the game by explaining. Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
I
think
wouldn't go that far, but it's like
No.
it's like a thing people should find out for themselves. It's a coincidence.
Damn.
Yeah. So basically, just there's a lot of the short answer is something happens that makes people very upset about the concept of allowing public displays of music further, and so different actions are taken, and there are arguments as to whether those actions are valid or not. Basically. I think that like finding out further is definitely like basically one of the core narrative like thrusts of the
MacGuffin?
game.
The MacGuffin, as it were.
It's kind of a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It's MacGuffin-esque. It's got a MacGuffin, ish shape.
It's quasi MacGuffin.
You could say the McMuffin.
That is
Oh my
that.
God.
Wow. Okay. That's where. All right. Now I know where we are. All right. That's where we're gonna be for this one. This is good. I like this. This is gonna be fun. So what kind of things are the player is going to be doing? That's gonna keep them like. So you said they're building this band, right?
Right.
What are the challenges in front of them? Are there like big boss battle rhythm fights? Like what are we doing from beginning to end of a level or a stage or something?
So, as our audience is so quick to jump to, we have a day-night cycle that might remind people of a certain other JRPG, and that system is going to make up the bulk of the narrative content of the game, wherein you have performances that you put on, but the things that you do between those performances are going to determine what the characters are thinking, what they're going to be, the kind, like where their story arcs lead, the kind of music that you'll be able to play, that you'll be writing, and all of this kind of ties together with an overarching narrative, wherein there's mysteries and conflicts that you need to get through while you're trying to build your band up. You're trying to do these performances. You're helping out your friends. You're trying to garner attention in the city.
Yeah.
So
you're going through basically just trying to like get the band that you're getting off the ground. As Andrew said, it's like an indie game about starting an indie band. And it's going from like a grassroots thing straight through to like you've got actual buzz. And that arc is mechanical because you're actually like taking direct actions in the game to try to build that reputation up. But you can't do everything.
You can't do everything.
Yeah. So
there's
you have
going
a
to
limited
be
amount of
a
actions per
certain
day.
a certain number of things that you can do, and you'll have to make decisions about what you value and what you want to put your time into, right?
Okay.
Do you want to finish this one character story arc? Do you want to do this side quest here that might get you some buzz? Do you want to practice songs, get actually like able to, play different songs, write new songs, figure out, how you want to arrange your set list for the performance, all sorts of different actions that you're going to have to divide your time between. And we're not expecting you to see everything. In fact, it's not going to be possible to see everything in one playthrough, but we hope that in doing so, we'll kind of make a unique experience for each player.
Right. And then in between, or not in between, that's like the in between, like the major like part of the game. That leads into then more like scripted sequences where you will be doing like big anime boss fights. There'll be going to be like these more bombastic set piece sections that those kind of lead into, and then that leads back into the more exploratory day-night cycles.
We basically, we're pacing it so that you have a period of time and it leads into something really cool and bombastic, and then it'll kind of go into another lull and you'll be able to chill a bit and, talk to some people and figure out more about yourself in the world. And then that leads back into more exciting anime.
Right.
Reminds me a little bit of the Persona thing where you kind of...
I didn't want to say it.
Why?
He was actively trying to avoid saying that.
Yeah, but I see that doesn't make sense to me because like Persona is one of the biggest franchises and it's just now starting to really, really catch fire in the West. Like I would be saying we're like Persona, but it's different. Come see why. Like lean on that shit, man. Like hell yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that sounds dope.
Until you become jazz music and everybody points at jazz albums and goes, "Hey, is that from Persona?"
I don't know.
These are just the
all sounds
B-sides
like
from Persona, guys. That's all this game is.
This
They
all
don't write
sounds
their
like
own
good problems
music.
to have. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Go ahead, Andy.
Well, I mean that the breakdown sounds like it, but this thing behaves, acts, plays nothing like a Persona.
Right.
So how do you do the things you do in this game? What does the core gameplay loop look like in Unbeatable?
So it's up and down, right? That's the rhythm game combat is primarily just the 2-button thing. And that powers like all of the things from the main thing that you've seen in the arcade mode that we've you play through in like White Label is going to be like that's the stage when you're on stage. That's pretty much what that looks like. But that's also, those 2 buttons are also going to be the mini game like controls. There's going to be different ways that those interact with things contextually based on where you are in the game and what you're doing.
A lot of this game is going to use the same system in wildly different ways. So boss battles will use the same system, but they will have a completely different presentation from the normal rhythm gameplay, which will have a completely different presentation from the myriad of mini games that we're making. Simple things that can range from like darts to
Yeah, it's like generally like kind of the same gameplay. So it's not like you have to like
you'll be using the same buttons throughout, and everything will be kind of eminently familiar.
Right.
But we're hoping that there'll be a lot of variety in how it's presented to you, the context behind them.
Yeah.
That
I like to compare it to Nier Automata, where when you jump into the hacking minigame, it's the same controls. It's identical in terms of how the controls work, but it's a completely different thing. Like you're not doing the same actions.
Yeah.
So,
and then you'll also get when you're not doing the combat, you'll have kind of a free roam exploratory thing where you'll have different hub locations that you'll be able to freely explore. They'll be packed full of characters, side quests, stories, secrets that you'll be able to go around, take your time looking through. So we hope that we'll be able to hit that balance between like, you're exhausted coming out of rhythm combat and you're happy just to explore, get to know some people, and then once you've had your fill of that, you're back to that bombast, you're back to having fun, killing stuff to the beat.
So Andy,
Yeah, I'm just trying to unpack that because again, like on the surface, I can sort of see the Persona comparisons, but
The
this feels
dichotomy
like-
there of
yeah,
like
I mean,
you're
it's very surface level. There's just so much more going on here than
Yeah, and,
Right.
and we have a few things here that because we really want to also have the gameplay reflect the characters. We have some features where if you do too many things in a day, you can end up oversleeping.
Ooh.
Oh,
Right.
that's kind of neat. I like that idea.
Yeah, so you'll end up like being forced to just kind of contend with that because other characters will just move on without you, or you might miss some things because of that, and so having to time manage is like a whole core thing here.
This game to me sounds like something that started as like the simplest idea and then got piled on top of, and now we're at this beautiful amalgamation of different systems and narrative and gameplay all speaking to each other. So why don't we touch a little bit on the genesis of Unbeatable? How did this start? What was the beginning of the development of Unbeatable?
So I guess it really just comes down to back in late 2017, Jeff and I put together a prototype of Unbeatable. And it had very similar gameplay to what you're seeing now, but it had 4 buttons, not 2. And we sent it out to people because we were just looking for composers for music.
Okay.
You can't have a rhythm game if you don't have music in it. And it was the simplest thing. I think I still have a Discord message from RJ like really early on where RJ was like, oh yeah, we could push this out in 2019 easy.
Little did you know.
We
How
started.
cute. How cute.
Well, let's definitely be clear about this. Like the game is really really big looking in a lot of different ways, but it definitely kind of started from small beginnings. Which is
Yeah, it was a very tiny game when we were starting out. It was going to have 7 songs. It was going to last maybe 30 minutes. Our demo has already passed that.
Yeah.
So we're at a definitely a weird point. I mean, you talk about scope creep. I wouldn't say this game was a victim of scope creep, but we definitely
It
figured
was a
out what the thing
victim
was.
of making 3 different games.
Pretty
all
much,
under the
yeah.
name Unbeatable before we
Yeah,
we
this is
finally
like
figured out what
basically-
it is that we were
It's
trying to
basically
do.
We kept
Unbeatable
cutting
3.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
It is
We-
the third iteration. That's what Andrew means. It's like we kept kind of like cutting it and starting over because we were realizing as we were working on this thing. I mean, when we came together, we didn't really know each other. We were like all sort of figuring this thing out as we go. And
right.
so, over the course of development, naturally, we ended up realizing, oh, hey, this is really what we're kind of focusing in on. This is the core of the thing. And so we would be like, let's scrap this, start this over with what we've learned. And then, we can probably do a better version of this. And we did that twice, like 2 major times. The first time was just because I think we like really realized that narrative was the core hook of the thing, and we started developing more of the exploration stuff. And then the second time was really started because it turns out Game Maker is the opposite of what you want to make a game like this in.
Yeah, we were pushing
Sure.
4K assets in an engine made for pixel art, and it was
Wow.
nuts.
It
It was
wasn't
not. It was
working out.
not happy at us.
Yeah,
so.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I know that Game Maker has made a lot of great stuff. Like I think Hyperlight Drifter was made.
Yeah,
on Game Maker, but
Game Maker's a great engine.
it's a great tool. Yeah, but
I still use it. Yeah.
I'm not disparaging Game Maker at all, but at a certain point, you realize that what you're making is not a Game Maker game.
Right.
And you have to make that determination. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do it in something better suited that has a video playback tool.
It's okay. I think
Surprisingly important.
they'll have one eventually. I think I'm waiting for it. I need it because
They had one in Game Maker 8, and then they took it out.
Those bastards. What were they thinking?
I can't have my anime
oh,
in my
yeah,
game now.
yeah.
It's frustrating.
I would like to go back to the first time you rebooted this bad boy. you said it was because you realized that narrative was the driving force behind it. What was the light bulb moment? What was the aha that made you come to that decision? What were you guys doing in that time? Were you just writing a little like in the background story to kind of tie these tracks together and you realize, shit, this is interesting, let's focus on that a little bit? Like, what was that light bulb moment?
So we already always had like a narrative background thing for this thing. We actually like did a thing where we pitched a bunch of different stories. Everyone like that wanted to was able to just come to the table and be like, all right, what if the game was like this, basically?
Okay.
And so we did a bunch of that, and Andrew had this idea that was pretty wildly out the box from what we were like talking about. And he's like, what if we just went in a complete 90-degree direction and made it basically Mario, like a Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario kind of thing. So like we kind of talked about it, and we were like, maybe this could work. And that was kind of the real start of it, was just sort of figuring out, hey, okay, if we're going to do something like this, what would that even look like?
Yeah, but personally for me, I would say the impetus was before then, because what had basically happened was so when we were trying to find composers, right, we had reached out to a lot of people, and it was basically just Jeff and I talking to people. And so, we were talking to people about composer things. This is how we met TJ and Vess. But when we talked to RJ came in and was like, what if we had a story that wasn't just this like 3-paragraph thing that you have written out for this 30-minute game.
What it really was I was like asking questions about, okay, why is this thing the way it is?
Yeah.
And Andrew and Jeff were like, I don't know.
You took the 3-year-old approach to problem solving. I get it.
It was one of those things where you write intrigue in by not thinking too hard about it.
Right.
And so RJ brought up all of these things. So then we went back and we were like, okay, we should actually figure out a story for this thing. And RJ was basically rattling around in my head, beating me up mentally
wow.
until I pumped out something.
You heard it here first, folks. Abuse at D-Cell Games. Let's get Jason Schreier to write that expose immediately.
Oh my God.
Bloomberg's going to be all over your ass for the mental abuse, let me tell you. Breaking now.
Yeah, no. So I would say that RJ was probably the real reason why the story came out the way that it is, just because talking to him was like a really just a surprisingly insightful and like really incredible experience. And that is why RJ then got an email later, not asking him to come on as a composer, but asking him to essentially come on as a co-director, which I'm sure
it was a very fascinating email, because he's like, so we don't want to hire you on for the job of composing the game. Would you like to help make this thing in a completely different way?
Interesting.
That was never a thing.
Hey man, your music sucks. Can you? But your other ideas are great.
We like you, but for other reasons.
Very, very.
To be clear, RJ still makes some music for
sure.
the game.
Oh, so you got a bundle discount, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
We got a co-director for
right.
Yeah.
You did the flow discount. I get
for
it.
The price of one.
Go ahead, Andy.
I was gonna say, you talk about scope creep, and I'm wondering at what point, because I see the slow evolution of this game, like changing and morphing over time, and now it's like, well, we gotta do a Kickstarter now to gotta like get this vision we have to actually be made and a thing, and then you guys in 15 hours are funded.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh my God.
What is that reaction like amongst all of you, saying, all right, here's this thing that we've gone back and forth on. You've grown, have a nice core team you've grown, and we threw it out here, and it's just huge response.
We were very shocked.
Yeah.
We were expecting to be near the end of the campaign, like hoping the number would hit. the goal.
The final, yeah.
Yeah,
we
like we
had,
didn't
like, a
expect to
whole
wake up and
thing planned out about how we would release things
Yeah, like-
over the course of the Kickstarter to like keep interest up and make sure, you know, we would have something for that final push to hit our goal. So hitting it in like waking up and realizing that the game was fully funded, like, you know, at 15 hours after we
Oh, it was an
Yeah, like,
amazing
we
problem to
launched it.
have.
We launched it, and then like most of the team went to bed, and like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
woke up, Jeff woke up, and we saw it reach the goal. And
Yeah, and
everyone
in
else
fact,
woke up.
like if it's any indication how we felt starting this Kickstarter, we had a lot of things that we were planning on putting into the Kickstarter like over the next few days, thinking, oh, you know, we'll get some attention, but the big push won't be until the very end. So, you know, we have time to work on some things. You know, we can polish up some of these art assets. We need the money to come in by this date. So we got to launch now, and it's okay. We can workshop it. We can figure it out over time. Just make sure it's ready for the big push. We were not expecting that many people on the first day, wholly unprepared for it, scrambling to get things together. To make sure the thing was
Right.
like, fully
we were
done.
like almost worried that I remember being very worried that because of all the attention right away and us kind of feeling a little bit like, well, shit, we didn't have things ready at this point for where we thought we were going to be, that we were like, I was worried that it was going to fall apart right then and we were just not going to be able to maintain momentum through the rest of the thing, because like it was a situation of, because we were expecting to roll these things out slowly, we just kind of like got thrown into it and had to do it all at once. And we adjusted, I think, pretty well to it after that fact, but it was a pretty scary moment of like, there's this really incredible thing that happened, but then suddenly we now have to figure this out in a much different way than we expected.
Yeah, like all our plans were thrown out the window. I mean, it's a great problem to have, you know?
I keep saying that, yeah.
It's a great problem to have.
Not a complaint,
yeah.
to be very clear.
We're just trying to get across that it was pretty stressful to realize that many people are looking at your thing all at once, you know?
Because I can imagine like you have little fun things to tease out to get the attention towards the end.
We
just
like, can't do that.
It's like, how do we
that's
promise like, you know, extra goals, stretch goals at like the $50,000 mark? Like, let's do it multiplayer now.
Yeah,
a lot of this was just like rethinking how the entire thing was going to be set up, because you know, we were not planning to have to roll things out as quickly as we were doing.
I want to ask a potentially uncomfortable question, but only because it involves money. But it's something that I've always been fascinated with. You set yourself a goal, and most of the developers we talk to that have a Kickstarter, they also have those stretch goals in mind that they, you know, are thinking they want to do, and they'll say, all right, well, we need this amount of money to do it, right? So you had that. Obviously, you took that goal and you made it your bitch. So now we're at a point where you had a plan for the money that you needed, and you got it in 15 hours. Do you now just use the money in an exponential way where like, okay, well, now the quality could be better, we could hire some more people to help us? Or do you now continue to you know, add on to that scope, or figure out ways to, do you feel like you owe it now to your backers because they've supported you so
well? The great thing, well, it's not amazing, but the thing is, game development is far more expensive than you would expect.
Oh,
and
we know.
The 55K
sure.
that our initial goal was enough time for us to essentially go out and find a publisher, because we needed the money to sustain ourselves, to make sure that, you know, people wouldn't get evicted. We were running on fumes by that point, and we needed money to make sure nobody would die trying to work on this project.
So it wasn't necessarily building the game. This was just paying yourselves to continue doing what you were doing, to keep you on course for getting this thing
a lot of
completed.
it is, and what it was it bought us months of time that we could use to eventually to essentially get a vertical slice together, basically like a functional slice of the game that we could use to show to publishers to get the rest of the funding, right?
Right.
Because I don't think any of us were under any expectation that we would be able to fully fund ourselves through the Kickstarter. As callous as that sounds, like, game development is really expensive.
Yeah.
To pay 7 people plus contractors for 2 years and pay them wages where they can afford to have a house or an apartment or whatever, and wherever they're living, like, that's a lot of money that you need to spend.
Yeah,
and
sure.
So at this point, like, we've been talking to publishers, we've gotten good headway, and we have enough money now that we could feasibly work on this for like a year before we get a publisher. It's great.
That's incredible. Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
like, I know that goes without saying, but like, specifically for that, like, being able to live comfortably and survive and enjoy your life, but like also be able to make this incredible project, like, that's fucking kudos to you guys. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a load of stress off of everybody's backs. And we can work full time on this game now. We basically, everybody was working part-time on this, finding free time to work on this for, at this point, 3 years. So being able to just work on this every day has been just a dream come true. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
I do want to like briefly touch on a thing you brought up, which is like, do we feel like an obligation to the backers that, and obviously the answer is yes, but it's not like, I think that there is a temptation that a lot of game developers in our situation do tend to get, which is, well, okay, we're getting all this extra money. Now we have to like make the game like exponentially bigger.
Right. That was what I was trying to allude to. Yeah.
That can make the thing fall apart. Like
exactly.
that can actually be a double-edged sword. And we did not want to fall into that trap. So like all of the stretch goals we had are super, we made sure, like, when we're looking at them, okay, is the scope reasonable? Can we actually do this? Like the version of online multiplayer we're doing, we're very specific about what it's going to be.
One of the most important things that we did is that before we made the stretch goal, we budgeted out the entire thing. We found a person who had the skill set required to implement it, or otherwise, talked amongst ourselves about what we would need to do to implement it. We have the entire thing drafted out. We were like, this is how much it's going to cost. This is how much we need for it. And then we put that in where the stretch goal goes.
It wasn't just like, okay, well, if we throw this money at the wall, it'll fix the problem.
Well, I guess maybe it will cost this much. I don't know.
What do you think we need for this? $50?
Yeah.
$50.
It's also a big thing on.
Let's go on
it's also-
Fiverr.
Yeah, it's also a big thing on making sure it doesn't compromise on timing. Like, we want to get this game kind of out the door as soon as like it can, while also being like high quality. But these like extra stretch goals, right, for like these like new tiers that we have, is stuff that doesn't necessarily need to make it day one, I think. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of the there's a lot of stuff that we have in our stretch goals that we have budgeted, like, okay, this isn't part of the main gameplay experience. We can focus on making the game first, make sure people can play that, and then once that's done, we can turn our focus onto like doing this stretch goal, right?
Right.
So things like online multiplayer, things like the roguelike mode that we just announced. That's stuff that like we can tell our backers, now that we've reached this goal, we can promise you it's going to be in the game. But these are also things that like do not interfere with us making the core experience. We can focus on making the core experience as itself, and then work on this
without having to delay it indefinitely.
Yeah, there are there are some stretch goals that I feel like people, some Kickstarters set up where they're doubling the size of their single player content, and that stuff, like, you can have all the money in the world, but that's not going to give you more time if you have a release date that you want to hit. Right?
Cough, bloodstained. Cough.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9.
But that's like the great pitfall. I feel like people, when they see the initial product, that's why they're giving you the money. It's like, you've already sold me on, in this current form, that's what I want. And then when you add all this extra budget, the scope grows, and you're just like, then the thing gets canceled. It's a tragedy, I feel, for most Kickstarter campaigns, that they feel like they can't just commit to what the original vision was for the game.
There was a game that I backed, and I don't remember the name of it, but I also don't want to call them out or anything like that. But it was a game that changed its art style completely after it met a certain goal, and it wasn't an advertised thing. They were just like, "Hey, we now have the ability to use this technology, so we're gonna make it look like this," and it like completely turned me off. Like I was sold on that original art style.
Right.
It was hand drawn and all that stuff, and that was beautiful to me. So I think that's very important. And again, I want to say kudos to you guys for recognizing that and the importance of this. We're not adding chapters to our novel. We're giving you the sub novels. We're giving you like a little pamphlet that's going to go at the end of the novel, like a little something extra or whatever to be additive to the novel, the Silmarillion to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, as it were. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really important to distinguish that, especially when you're managing, that kind of unsuspected growth that you had seemingly, well, literally overnight.
Yeah, I'd say this much as like way before the Kickstarter even kind of launched at that point, we've already got like a good idea of what we wanted the final game story to be like. So we know the beginning, like, kind of the end, right? Everything, well, not kind of, just that definitely. We know definitely what's happening in that.
We wrote it all down.
Yeah, we
it's
have
all written. It's all
the
set up.
entire story done, which was simultaneously because publishers want to see the narrative.
Right.
But also partially because the narrative was like one of the first things that we wrote out. Again, it's like the backbone of our game. We were working on the narrative and the music and the rhythm combat kind of all simultaneously, trying to make sure that the three core aspects of our game were at a state where we were like, yes, this is what we want to do. And then once we had all of that, then we were like, okay, and now we can go public with this. We can,
because really all that's left is just building the content out, right? It's like we have the stuff that's core to the experience done. So because of that, we don't have to worry about kind of fumbling the ball halfway through the process, because we know we have the thing to make the thing.
Right.
Yeah. And then of course we also have a white label, which is working basically as QA for us, where we can put out this demo, we can have people play it, we can have people give feedback on it, and we can eliminate any pain points that people might have like 3 years before launch.
That's awesome.
So
it was really nice.
Yeah, it's really great.
But like again, it also stretches of white labels that we didn't want to touch like the original game, or like just take a part of it and chunk it in as like this demo, right? So we want other things we make that isn't a part of like that core experience to be separate. So but connected,
Right.
So white label was an interesting situation because we needed a demo for the Kickstarter, but on the one hand, like making a full segment of finished Unbeatable we felt like would be a little weird, because A, we don't have the time or money or budget to be able to do that before the Kickstarter, and B, if we made any changes to the game, right, then that would be a lot of extra work that we would have to do, reworking stuff that we had implemented for the final game.
And then explanation, like it would be like the thing of people seeing it in this one way, and even if the game ends up better, like people are always going to look at the thing that it was and then compare the two, and some people will be like, well, why did you change it? And that's a whole thing.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, let's make a bespoke product, and then once we had decided we wanted to make a bespoke product, then it was like, well, then how can we make this bespoke product worth playing? And that was where the idea of making like basically a supplemental book was like an OVA essentially.
Right.
Came from.
Andy, we're running low. We want to get into our rapid fire, so let me kick it to you for a final question, okay?
Do I have to really wait at least 2 years to play this game?
Unfortunately, that's how long games take to make.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Look forward to the upcoming additions to Unbeatable White Label.
It's
Let's
just
see.
when
Tide you over.
when the game looks this good, sounds this good, plays this good, you want it in your hands immediately.
And has this good of a team behind it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
so
you.
a lovely group
Thanks.
of people, which we are now going to destroy, Andy.
Oh,
Because it's
Oh,
time.
no.
It's
It's rapid
time for
fire.
rapid fire, and I'm going to kick us off with. So this is going to be unique because usually we ask like the one person something or two people at most. We've had
Right.
3. This is a gaggle of humans, which I'm assuming most of you are human. So I'm going to go unique. So Andy, I'm hoping you can follow me on this and try and tailor your questions to be similar.
You be the Sherpa on this.
I will be the Sherpa.
on up Mount Crazy, and I'll see if I can follow you along the way.
All right, here we go. A phone call is made to the group. You all get a group phone call
Okay.
that one of you has been arrested for something. Who is it that got arrested and for what?
Me for a noise complaint.
Yeah, I was gonna say TJ.
Yeah, actually.
TJ for a noise complaint.
Because
TJ for
I have
noise
gotten a
complaint.
noise complaint before, so
Wow. Is that the extent of the crimes committed by this group of people? You could say it. It's a safe space that no one will know. Everything's fine. It only goes on the internet.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like the worst thing I've done.
You jaywalking son of a bitch. You're one of those, aren't you?
I definitely am a jaywalker.
We're from
Listen,
Chicago. You know we jaywalk.
Heard that.
Jaywalking is
we're
fucking
from New
default.
York, all right? That's the only kind of walking we do. Andy, do you see where we're going with this? We have to do something that's pitting them against each other in a vicious fight to the death.
Right. All right. It's like they gotta call each other out, basically.
Right,
What's happening.
exactly. See, now
That's
you're
what I'm
getting it.
sensing.
Now you're getting
All right.
it.
So let's start with this. This is an established fact. If
Okay.
whilst you're getting dressed,
Oh.
put on your socks and your shoes. You put on your sock first, then your shoe first, then your other sock, then your other shoe. Who amongst your team would be who's the psycho that's doing this kind of behavior?
Ooh. Which one of you puts on sock shoe?
If you were told one among you
Yes.
is a psychotic who puts on their sock shoe,
It's
shoe.
either Jeff or me. I don't do that, but I'm saying that's probably who it
Definitely
would
not
be.
me.
So that's Jeff saying not me, and I believe that was RJ saying it was
It is
either
me.
me or Jeff. Is that
That
correct?
would
It's
be who I
RJ.
would guess.
It's RJ.
Yeah.
So then it's got to be RJ. Just now we're
I
playing
can tell
Among
you
Us,
now.
and this is great. I'm loving this. I want to play Among Us with you guys. That would be hilarious. Okay. Speaking of Among Us, here, you guys know Among Us. You've played Among Us, yes? You know the
Very
concept.
aware, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we have to ask now because that came and went like a meteor. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question. Who out of the group, when being accused in Among Us, is most likely to... Oh, what's the word? It's when you blame the other person. Self-report. Which one of
me,
you?
100%.
RJ.
RJ.
Not even a question.
RJ is the
Easy.
self-reporter.
It's RJ.
Wow.
Oh,
It's
I always.
RJ.
That's how I do it. Listen, it's gotten to the point where I need to switch it up. I'm like, so it's not so much Among Us because I don't really play Among Us that much, but in other werewolf type games, I have a tendency to, I cast suspicion on myself early on purpose to
I have
then
seen this so
uncast it
many
later.
times.
Wow.
Well, see, here's the thing, because I would do it too, but I would only do it if I felt like it was time to mix things up, Because if if you go too long without reporting anything, right, then you kind of have to report,
right?
You need to make it seem natural.
Right. Right.
Alrighty. So I myself am a very accident-prone human being. I have
Very
a lot of
accident-prone.
scars, stitches.
He's a fucking moron.
I fall down way too much.
Cuts
Who among you should not be alive today?
Oh, it's
RJ.
me. Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what?
Again,
Oh, absolutely,
I think we
RJ.
found the runt of the litter, and he...
Absolutely,
Listen,
RJ.
I'm gonna actually tell a story. This is a
No,
true
don't
story.
tell that story.
I'm not gonna get
Oh.
into crazy detail.
Tell the story.
I did, however, jump on the
hang up.
side of a moving train before, and I
Okay.
Nathan Draked that shit all the way to work.
I have a counter story to that.
Oh,
You have a counter story to my
What?
story.
Ooh,
Yeah.
This
we
is
have
the
a
first time
challenge.
hearing about this.
We have a
Yeah,
challenge.
so as a child, I almost got hit by a car.
Really?
Almost.
But
Yeah.
how was that your fault?
Well, wait. Is
Aren't
was
you-
that
About how
specifically
clumsy
part of the
you
question?
Right?
I jumped on the
Or
side
how,
of a moving
or not
train and
clumsy,
rode
but how
that to
your
the next
decision
stop.
making.
How
That's
you
decision-making.
yeah
That's
how,
me.
how
That's
you
all me.
would
Well-
directly cause your own
Okay,
demise.
sort of. Okay, so the context here is that I was trying to get on the school bus and a car like zoomed by.
So that's car's
so-
fault. You're good.
so
you're in the
That
clear.
is the car's
You're
fault.
good. You're in the
Yeah,
clear.
yeah,
Yes.
you're good.
Oh.
You're not as dumb as you think you
I-
are.
Okay,
there's
well,
some-
see, I have two counter
Fair enough.
stories.
Oh, for-
I have,
oh, no.
I have two
Oh, boy.
counter stories.
All right.
What I'm getting
that's
from this is
Andrew.
that none of us should be alive.
Once, so when I was getting my driver's license, basically the state requires that you you have to do like a one-on-one like driving practice thing with
Sure.
your instructor, right?
Of course, yes.
And my instructor, in signing off my papers, went to my parents and said, "Do not let this person drive."
Oh my god, that's exactly what my instructor told me. Oh my goodness. No,
Really?
my instructor literally said something along the lines of like, you need to like improve a lot. Like I should just fail you here, and then he just like grunts of it and is just like signing the papers and is like, just hand this to your mom, go to the DMV, I'm done. And I'm just like, oh.
It's in God's hands now.
Wow. My
Oh my
goodness.
At this point, I like to think I'm a fairly good driver, but that's because it's been years.
Meanwhile, me and Rachel both don't own a car because we've lived in a city with public transit.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
most of our lives.
Yeah.
The second story is the time so I am not a person who does sports or physical activities in any form. I went skiing.
Nope.
And it went
Don't
about
like
as
where
well
this
as
is
you'd
going.
expect. I broke limbs.
Oh man.
No.
Sonny Bono to tree. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, see, here's the thing. It's great. So you would normally expect
great.
if a person got in a skiing accident that it'd be because, they went down a double black diamond slope or something, or
No,
they hit a tree.
no.
But no, it was a straightaway
Uh-huh.
down a pretty empty slope,
Uh-huh.
and I broke a leg.
Okay, now I'm wondering about the mechanics of that. Like, how did that happen? What were you doing?
So,
This is a
so
very
basically, I
different
was
podcast.
going
yeah.
skiing with family, right?
Uh-huh.
And when you have skis, they calibrate the quick release on the ski to your weight, to your body weight.
Okay.
And so I had the same shoe size as somebody who was much heavier than I was, and so. What happened was that it was one of the skis was mine. One of the skis was not mine, but it was the same model because we had the same shoe size, right? So you couldn't differentiate them, but they were calibrated to do different weights. And so when you fall over, one of them pops off. The other one does not pop off. You roll down the hill.
Oh no!
The ski gets stuck in the snow. The leg breaks.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
That's like surprisingly violent for
I felt
a
that.
completely empty.
How old were
Oh.
you?
I felt it.
Oh, this must have happened in like 6th grade.
Okay. So your bones were brittle to begin with because you're a small child
Yeah.
and you're just
but-
cartwheeling through the air. Good Lord. You all right, here's your next question. You all go on vacation together. Yeah, you're having a sleepover, and you all smell delicious cooking happening. Who's making your breakfast?
Me or TJ?
I would
No,
posit
no,
Vass.
no.
I feel like
Actually,
Vass.
Vasily.
no, you know
Yeah,
what?
Vass-
Silly.
Vass actually,
It would be
yeah.
Vass.
Yeah.
It would be
Vass,
Vass.
absolutely.
Vass.
He's
He knows how
he's
to
a
cook.
very worldly guy. He knows
Oh.
he knows shit about food.
Very nice.
Yeah.
If the smell was something fried and or with cheese, then maybe it'd be me.
I'm
Yeah.
bunking with you, handsome. You and me. Give me the
If
deep
y'all want
fried
mac and
cheese.
cheese, if y'all want mac and cheese, I know how to make some bomb mac and cheese, but that's it.
Yeah. Are you making that boxed stuff?
No,
Let me ask you this. It's just me and you now, okay? You got to buy the box thing, okay? Are you doing that powder
So
shit?
this is-
The powder shit, or are you doing that creamy Velveeta stuff?
I mean, I haven't had the boxed stuff in like years because it's bad. So
Sure, it's bad, but it's also, I mean, come on.
It's the two choices.
Fine.
Yeah, this is a binary
it's
choice.
The powder. It's the powder because there
100%
are plenty of
the
different
powder.
powders you
That's
can
the
get.
only
That's
choice.
because you're too close to Canada. You need to get away
I think
from
we found the psychotic
over there.
finally.
Yeah, we found the
I
psycho.
think powder's the only choice. I think Velveeta's disgusting.
When have you ever seen cheese in the form of powder aside from dried shaved cheeses?
In the form of a Kraft box of Kraft mac and cheese.
on Cheetos.
That's also true.
I also
The
don't like
texture-
that.
There's
it says
a lot of
cheese.
really tasty
the
powdered
ultimate
cheese. I
product.
don't know where you've been.
Here's my guideline here. I don't like the taste, the flavor of Velveeta, but I like the texture and I like the flavor of Kraft cheese more than
Right.
Velveeta.
Okay, that's fair.
I hate.
Yeah.
That's fair.
With me, the thing about Velveeta is, when you make it right, it's fine. But when you make it badly, it is the worst thing you could
I have
possibly
never ever known a person to make
eat.
bad.
It is
make a
very
boxed mac and cheese
difficult.
bad.
It's way
How do
more
you-
difficult to make bad Kraft mac
Yeah.
and cheese.
Well,
than it is
you
to
just
make
did
Velveeta.
today. You met RJ.
I've definitely fucked up Velveeta. Yeah.
That's
Oof.
Well, I've
incredible.
messed up craft dinner before.
Wow. We are, and you guys are making a game with lots of money. People gave you money for
Correct.
something.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
time
you're
RJ
fucking up
put
Kraft dinner.
ramen in the
Yeah.
microwave. and
$250,000.
forgot to put
Oh,
water
who
in
did
it.
that? Who did that? Who was that?
RJ.
RJ, you
Thank-
put
listen,
ramen in
let
the
me tell you.
microwave?
Thank
No,
God we
no.
weren't given-
You didn't hear the last part. You didn't hear
Okay.
the last part. He put microwave ramen, like one of the microwave
The
ramen
cups.
bowls.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. He forgot to put water in it, and he almost set our
That
house
makes
on
that makes
fire.
sense. That is, yep.
Well,
I
I
think
think
there's a
that's
meme
how you
of a
almost die.
child
Too much
doing
water
that.
in it.
Yeah.
There's definitely a
If
meme
anybody
of a
here was going
child
to
doing that.
should be dead. I guess it's RJ.
Yeah.
It is.
And it might be because RJ would starve to death in a room full of food.
Very possible, actually.
My goodness.
I think what we've established is the only person here who shouldn't be allowed near cooking is me.
Oh man, this is very eye opening.
Pure gold.
Andy, let's hit us up with one more, and then I'll do the ceremonial final question.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go in a more wholesome route.
Oh, you're going wholesome? Okay, then
A
I'm not
little
then I'm not
wholesome,
going to do the ceremonial because I want to get something really fucked up. I want to
God.
go down the fucked up
Oh
route.
god. Oh god.
All right,
I
go
feel
ahead.
like that whole who should not be alive thing.
That was good, but I'm going
Oh,
deeper. I'm
oh,
going
Kelly.
deeper and darker, my friend.
You
And
all
dangerous.
okay. You all wake up, and each of you has superpowers.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say who's got what, but I do want to ask, who would be the first one among you to use their powers for good and to help mankind?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I don't know.
It's very sweet.
I
It
don't
is
know.
don't know, maybe
literally the
Jeff?
polar opposite.
Yeah,
Probably
Jeff, you're like the nicest
Yeah.
person.
Possibly.
Jeff.
I think there's also a concern of if you publicly display yourself using it, it gets a lot of attention and not a good sense. So you'd
But-
have to be discreet about it, honestly.
If I had
Right, but the question is,
superpowers-
you would still be the first person, probably,
Yeah.
right? So
You'd be the
True.
hero.
in secret, you would still be using it for good.
I sense a lot of villains among us. I just want to find out who's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one.
yeah. I want to do a modifier here, Andy. Now go the other way.
Not a complete asshole. Hey, who's the asshole?
Who's the first one to be the villain of the group?
Who's the ass?
Who's
I don't
robbing
think
the
I would
bank?
use. I wouldn't rob a bank, but I would definitely be playing pranks. That's what
That's
I would
fair.
go. That's where I would go with it immediately.
That's
I'd be
fair.
like, okay, how can I use this for mischief?
All right. Now here, let's
Found our Loki.
go down the rabbit hole here. Let's get in. Okay, let's get into psychological warfare. You are all the next victims of Jigsaw.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
He got you all. You're all attacked. You're in that crazy room. Traps everywhere. Who's getting out alive?
God.
Oh,
Do any of us?
Rachel.
Well, get away from the trope of the
Listen.
damsel whatever getting through the movie.
I
Like-
didn't want to say it, but it's probably me.
Well, the odds
Rachel.
are in her favor. Historically. that's what
Historically, they
happens.
are in your
Yeah.
favor. They need to turn you into
Rachel,
the villain by the third
Rachel,
movie.
not even
Spoilers.
because of that, but I feel like because I feel like the rest of us are too dumb to survive.
Again, people,
I'm
you
the
guys
first
gave
one
them
to
a
go.
$250,000
Are you
to
kidding me?
make a
I'm
video
the first
game.
one to go. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about these movies.
I'm
Yeah, like
kind of-
seconds. So like,
I'm kind of like a parental figure.
Yeah, you're definitely the one that makes the most sense among us.
All right. So if she's the one getting out alive, who is the jigsaw that's at this whole show?
I was just going to say that. Which one of you is the one that set everybody up for this?
Oh, it's Jeff.
No.
Oh. Okay.
No.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it's Jeff or Andrew.
Oh, me for sure.
no, it's Andrew. No, yeah.
And she's like, wait till they see what I got
I-
in store for them now. Head squeezing trap. Yeah. Let's rip their face off like in that movie
it's
Face Off.
just it's a pile of Velveeta cheese. You got to swim out of it.
You got to swim out of
What you gotta do.
Velveeta cheese. Ugh.
There is
Good
a box
Lord.
of Velveeta cheese. Make your choice.
There's a key in a bowl of Velveeta. All right, Andy. The
Is it the end?
ceremonial, it's it. This is it. We're at an hour.
This
did
is
it.
like, if you're gonna ask what I think you're gonna ask,
This is it.
it's gonna get funky.
This is weird. This is
It's
going to
a
get
little-
weird.
Gonna get a little funky.
And I've decided to give a modifier on this. You all have to vote for the answer that the team is going to go with.
Oh shit.
Oh,
It is binary, and you have
as
to
a
come.
collective.
It is a collective discussion, so it's not necessarily rapid fire. This is a more like a team
Final
huddle up.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, team huddle up, without using the camera as your only excuse.
Okay.
The answer is, the question is. Sorry, I know the answer, but the question is, Andy or Steven?
Oh my god.
Oh.
Huddle up. Huddle up.
Shit.
What?
Fuck. Okay. I don't know.
We have to pick Andy or Steven.
We've asked every guest this question. Some have copped out because they're baby back bitches, but most have disappointed at least one of us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Which
we have
one?
to pick who we like more.
Well,
But-
see, that's how you're interpreting it. It
Which
could be,
which Andy
Okay, well,
and
what's
which
the
Steven?
scenario?
Huh?
I don't
There is
know.
no scenario.
What is the
It's
scenario?
just-
What
it's
if we just make a? What if we make a scenario and it's just something really, I don't know, easy to answer.
Where
Who here is most named Steven?
Okay.
Well, that's a pretty
I'm
difficult
gonna go
one,
ahead
honestly.
and go with Steven for that one.
I'm voting.
Good choice.
I'm voting Andy actually on that one.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a
Wow.
unique choice.
Hey, it's quite the upside.
Let her first to go, Jeff.
Okay, so here's my question. Who contacted us first?
That was me.
He was, yeah.
Then I go you. That's my vote.
You know what? I think I'll go Andy too.
Okay. The Jeopardy theme has ended.
I think Rachel goes to me as well. I'm gonna
So,
say.
well, shut up. They have to come to a group. It's not. If they want to do it by a vote, that's fine. What is your answer? D Cell Games. What are we putting on our doc of who wins this?
Is there a doc?
There is. I'm keeping a
So-
running list.
I guess in context of who's the most Steven, the answer is Andy.
That is correct.
If that's the question we're
I'm
going
gonna go
with.
with Andy for the Steven question.
Got
That's
it. Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
question. That's a good. I
All
like
right,
I
yeah,
like that.
So Andy by default.
Got it. I
Wow.
feel like I've out Steven you.
You have won by default more times than I can count at this point. And you know what? I'm not mad about it.
Don't be
I'm not mad about
Don't
it. Would it change your mind if I told you I'm
Okay.
wearing a Bulbasaur baseball cap right now?
Oh, I'm gonna go
Ooh.
with I'm gonna go with Steven.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support us, please do so by going to patreon.com/NDS podcast. We want to thank our Patreon producers, Colton, The Apprentice Nestler, Vegas Girl on Fire, and FNH Paul. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support. If you want to follow us on social media, we are at dual_screens on Twitter, at dual screens on Instagram. You could go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/DS podcasts. I am at Batchild27. Andy is at Pantsguy. And now, D-Cell! Where could everybody follow the game, follow you, and all the fun stuff?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter at DCell Games.
At
and
DCell Games. Yep.
Also go to our website, unbeatablegame.com, and go to our Slacker backer and maybe
Boom.
buy some stuff for yourself.
And our game's on Steam. It's Unbeatable White Label. You can download the free demo of the main game right now, and it's pretty good.
Sure can. Well, Diesel, team, this was fantastic. We loved having you. And can we just be friends? Can we just hang out? Can we?
Yeah.
Because this was fantastic.
We need in-person events to happen soon, so we can all meet up.
We also need in-person events to happen.
Have some beers and talk shit.
I'm vaxxed, waxed, and ready for hugs. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. And as always, please be excellent to each other.